A very good morning to all our guests, startups, partners, and everyone who has taken time to join us today. My name is Carrie Liao. I am the Regional Director of APAC Programs. I'm representing the team at 500 Global this morning, and I am excited to be your host for today. Moving on, welcome to the Pitch Challenge, right? This is the Shaping of Future of AI, organized in conjunction with Greater Tokyo Innovation Ecosystem, GTIE. So GTIE is one of the initiatives under the Innovation Consortium managed by the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, consisting of 85 institutions, such as universities, including the University of Tokyo, Waseda University, Tokyo Institute of Technology, local governments, and private companies in the metropolitan area. We're proud and excited to be partnering with them on this event today. And today you will hear pitches from 6 founders. 3 Japanese founders who are looking to expand internationally, and 3 global founders who are looking to expand to Japan. Our presenters today will also receive feedback from our panel of esteemed judges. So I'm pleased to have with us today our global investor panel, Lisa and Rob. Rob is a venture partner at 500 Global, and Lisa is a general partner at R3I Ventures. So thank you for joining us. And on the Japanese investor panel, we have Eriko Suzuki, the Managing Director of Empower and Venture Partner of Fresco Capital, as well as Noriaki Sakamoto, Partner and Board Director of UTech, the University of Tokyo H Capital Partners. So thank you for joining us today and contributing to supporting these presenting startups. Next slide, please. It is an honor to be a part of the global startups journey in expanding into the Japan market while helping the Japanese founders go global. So we're really grateful for this opportunity to showcase the stories to you. Next slide, please. But before we hear from these amazing startups, I'd like to invite Professor Masaharu Sujimoto, representing GTIE, to share a few words. Over to you, Sujimoto-san.
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Tsujimoto, Professor of Tokyo Institute of Technology. At the same time, I'm one of the representatives of the Greater Tokyo Innovation Ecosystem, GTIE. Thank you for participating today at Shaping the Future of AI. This is a joint event of GTIE and 500 Global. Let me explain about GTIE briefly. GTIE's vision is to nurture university startups to change the world. GTIE is a platform launched by 85 institutions, including 13 universities in the Greater Tokyo area. Participating members include financial institutions, VCs, CVCs, developers, accelerators, and large-size companies. They provide various functions to support university startups. AI is one of the deep tech that can be a core part of a university startup, I think. It has a potential to create disruptive innovations to change the world by combining with various other technologies. GTIE also set AI as one of the key priority technology area. I hope that great opportunities will expand from here today. Please enjoy today's event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sujimoto-san. We will enjoy today's event, so thank you for having us. And next, I would like to invite our 500 Global Managing Partner, Tony Wong, to give the opening keynote speech. Tony, over to you.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. Thanks, Carrie, and thank you, Professor Sujimoto-san, for allowing us the opportunity to have this event. I'm Tony Wong. I'm the Managing Partner at 500 Global, and I'm grateful to be here. And so, as you know, March 11th happens to be a very particularly meaningful time for many here today. 11 years ago, the Tohoku region experienced a devastating earthquake and tsunami. Many lives, homes, and businesses were lost. And even though you weren't in Japan, I was in the US at the time, you still remember the exact moment and exactly where you were, where you started seeing the events and just the incredible devastation that happened. And then being able to see the courage and resilience that the people had in terms of going through that devastation and then rebuilding. So the Japanese have not only shown how resilient they are, but also how innovative they can be. So in particular, we look to leaders like our partner, the Greater Tokyo Innovation Ecosystem. So GTIE is determined to set an example of how top institutions can come together to build a sustainable, innovative ecosystem that supports the creation and scaling of startups and seeks out collaborations such as ours. We're very excited to kickstart this special partnership and help Japanese startups gain access to a global audience and support GTIE in promoting the Tokyo startup ecosystem globally. So first, a little bit about 500 Global. We're a US-based venture capital firm with $2.3 billion in assets under management. We invest in early founders building fast-growing technology companies and focus on markets where technology, innovation, and capital can unlock long-term value and drive economic growth. We have investments in about 77 countries, and our portfolio includes 41 companies valued at more than $1 billion. So those are unicorn status, and 125 companies valued at over 100 million. And so we call those centaurs. And that number is growing constantly. And just 2 years ago, that number of unicorns was about 10. Now it's quadrupled in the last 2 years. And that gives you an idea of how compounding works, even in the early stage, and how value gets created very quickly over time. In Japan, we've been active for a long time. 500 has run more than 8 accelerator programs over the past 6 years or so. And we've made our first investment in the country in 2010. To date, we've invested in 56 companies based in Japan. And we're proud to say that 2 of our portfolio companies, Paydi and Smart HR, recently also became unicorns. I work with passionate founders who are trying to solve global challenges like the ones you will hear today. We believe they have the potential to make their mark on AI. It's wonderful to see you all here joining us for this event, and I'm delighted for this opportunity with GTIE. At 500 Global, we look forward to supporting you and making deeper connections. Once again, thank you. Arigatou gozaimasu. Enjoy the event and look forward to meeting many of you.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you so much for that speech. And now, the moment we've been waiting for, let's hear from our startups. So each startup will have 3 minutes to pitch and present, followed by 3 minutes of Q&A and feedback from our panel of judges. So if you have any burning questions for our startups, please click on the Q&A button at the bottom and type your questions in. We will not be able to take all your questions today, unfortunately, due to time, but we do encourage you to connect with our founders after this event to learn more. So let me first welcome the first 3 Japanese startups to pitch in front of our global investor panel, and then our 3 global startups to pitch in front of the Japanese investor panel. Next slide, please. To start off, representing the Japanese founders, it is my pleasure to invite Shonosuke Ishiwatari, the CEO at Mantra Inc. And at Mantra, they have developed Lankaku. It's a computer-assisted language learning service based on manga with features to make learning easier, such as the ability to dynamically adjust difficulty, hear text read aloud, and read in multiple languages. So they're bringing the joy of manga to English language learners. So I'm looking forward to this presentation. Over to you, Ishiwatari-san.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sho, and I'm here to talk about language learning. I hope I can, yeah. So let me begin with extensive reading, which means reading a lot. Wait. Oh, I should press right. Oh, sorry. Yep. Extensive reading, which means reading a lot, has shown to be an effective way of learning English as a second language. We can grow our vocabulary, reading, writing, and even listening skills with ER. Although it's very effective, more than 90% of English learners don't work on extensive reading because they cannot find interesting content that match their interests. And they feel that reading a large amount of text is too difficult. Here, our solution, Langaku, is to utilize comics as ER materials. In Japan, comics are not contents only for children. More than 80% of Japanese read comics, and more than 70% of the English learners are also comic fans. Langaku personalizes the difficulties of the comics while you're reading. You can also switch the language anytime you want and check the words or idioms that you don't understand. Let me explain how we transform comics into language learning materials. Given a set of two images, a Japanese version and an English version of the same comic title, Rangaku automatically detects the speech bubbles, recognize text, extract idioms, and evaluate their difficulties. After which, an image processing engine dynamically mixes the Japanese and English into a single page that fits the level of target user. So for example, if the user is an experienced learner, Rangaku generates image with a higher English ratio to encourage users to read more English. The market, the online, the online language learning market is huge and it's growing at 30% each year. And we begin with the 200 million Japanese market to evaluate the effectiveness of comic-based language learning. After which we will expand to all the language pairs such as English, Chinese, and Korean. Our business model is a hybrid of $9 subscription and the pay-as-you-go model. Since our closed beta launch, we have 7,000 users subscribed to our waitlist, all without any marketing spend. In addition, we've already got the license from the #1 comic publisher, Shueisha, who also invested in us as a seed investor. And the team, both of us co-founders earned PhDs in the area of machine learning. We've published several papers to top AI conferences. Come join us and bridge the cultural differences with the entertainment and technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Sho. All right, and now I'd like to invite Lisa as well as Rob to share the screen with us, please. And if we can just stop sharing our screen for a bit, Erica. Yeah. Welcome, Rob. Welcome, Lisa. So over to you guys. Give some feedback to Sho, ask some questions. Take it away.
Would you like to ask the first question or would you like me to?
Oh, go ahead, Rob.
Okay. Tell me a little about quality control. Oftentimes translation apps have a very big difficulty establishing is it accurate? Can you tell me a little bit how you manage that problem?
Yeah, actually the English version of the comics are not translated automatically. They are translated by the professional translators, and those comics are published in North America. So we utilize those already published comics to create these educational materials. So the quality, I think that would be nice.
Got it. So if I've understood it, what's really happening here is you're taking fully translated, professionally translated, and then you're sort of blending it into the Japanese side. So you're not responsible for the translation, you're responsible for the UI, the display and usage of it. Is that correct?
You're right, yeah.
Okay.
Earth-san, I'm keen to understand what is the defensibility in your product?
Yeah, as I shown in the slide, there is a special UI that mixes the Japanese and English, right? And if you want to make that happen, it takes a lot of money to create that UI because you need to read a lot. So you need to prepare hundreds, thousands, or 10,000 of pages of comics to create that UI, and it costs much. So we utilize AI to do that. And plus, because we've already have contract with the #1 Japanese comic publisher, and the contract is exclusive for a year, so that would be a that can be a good defense.
You said it was just 1 year, right?
Yeah, so far, yes.
Okay. It's more a pilot at this point, is that right?
Sorry, pirate?
Is the reason why it's only
Pilot.
exclusive for 1 year because it's a pilot?
Yeah, actually, it's not only for them to be the exclusive. We cannot use other publishers' contents for the first 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah, but after that, we can also gather other contents as well.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Are they paying you a significant amount of money for that exclusivity since it blocks you from other contracts?
Yeah, actually, they are an investor of us.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, but no licensing fees, just the investment for equity.
Oh, for the license, there is once we generate the revenue, we need to pay for that license because they need to pay that to the comic artist. But that's
So
a normal contract.
Of course. Let me see if I could rephrase my question a little bit. All of your revenue is expected and currently is only from the user. The comic, of which you have a 1-year exclusivity, does not pay you any money to prevent you from going to another company, to prevent you manning others.
I got your point. No, the answer is no. All the revenue will be coming from the users, the end users.
Okay. If I could, I apologize. If I could ask one more, and then maybe I'll turn it over to you. You mentioned that there's a wait list at $9. How far along is that? Is there any payment so far? Is there any? Tell me a little bit more about where that is.
Yeah, actually, the waitlist is the waitlist for beta test, and we've already doing the beta test for 7,000 users, and they haven't paid any money yet. And we will be launching iOS version this year on which people can, pay money and use it.
So it's so far it's 7,000 free users are on the system. Is that correct?
That's true. Yeah,
okay.
That's true.
Okay, unfortunately that invalidates my retention question.
So Sho-san, I'm learning Japanese every day on my Duolingo app. I wonder, is there any other languages that you might translate this into? And do your algorithms also work on those languages?
Oh, yeah. Actually, we are creating a machine translation system for comics. And with that system, we can translate not only from Japanese to English, but also from Japanese to Chinese or in the opposite way. So yeah, I would like to expand this system into several languages after after this trial between the Japanese and English languages.
Super. Thanks so much for your help.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Rob. And thank you, Sho, very much for taking all the questions, Yes, okay, please let me introduce him then. I would like to bring on Taishiro Kishimoto-san. If you can bring him onto the screen, please. He is the CEO at I2 Medical. He is the project professor of Keio University School of Medicine. And, it says that Japan is one of the most super-aged nations, and understanding connective functions of the elderly during financial transactions is a very important issue. So at I2 Medical, they aim to develop a technology to identify cognitive decline based on acoustic characteristics in the voices of elderly people during financial transactions and to implement this service into society. So Kishimoto-san, over to you.
Thank you. Good morning. I appreciate this opportunity to present. Okay. So my name is Taishiro Kishimoto from Keio University School of Medicine. I am also the CEO of I2 Medical. So today I would like to propose a solution to the problems that arise in financial transactions using the technology we have developed to detect the risk of dementia based on acoustic characteristics. So Japan is one of the super-aged countries with the highest percentage of the population over 65 years old in the world. Furthermore, it is estimated that Japan will continue to be the fastest aging country for the next couple of decades. So this aging population has created a situation in which a large portion of Japan's assets are concentrated among the elderly. Here it comes. It is estimated that by 2035, 40% of all household assets and 50% of all securities will be held by people 70 years old and older. This situation poses a major problem for the Japanese economy. So I have listed some of the issues in financial transactions involving elderly. So seniors are more likely to be victims of fraud. Cognitively impaired individuals are considered to be at higher risk. In the light of protecting the elderly, The guidelines restrict sales of high-risk financial instruments to those aged 85 and over, although there are people who want to manage their wealth well. So financial institutions are losing profit opportunities. In addition, sales representatives have to judge the cognitive ability of the elderly, although they are not medical experts. The slide depicts a research project that I led a couple of years ago, sponsored by Japan Agency for Medical Research and Development. We aimed at developing various medical devices and/or services using AI. So one of the technology that we have developed in this study, which estimates the risk of cognitive decline based on acoustic features, is outlined in the slide. I'm not going to talk about the details, but the technology is capable of identifying dementia with high accuracy. The strength of this technology is its ability to analyze natural conversation without requiring the elderly to answer to specific questions. Furthermore, in collaboration with Mitsubishi UFJ Trust and Banking Corporation, we have begun collecting voice data from actual financial transaction situations. The slide shows the solution our technology offers to the market. Due to the time constraints, I won't explain each of them, but Japan's Financial Service Agency has stated that urgent measures are needed to deal with problems that I mentioned earlier. And we hope that we can utilize this technology to implement a solution. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to share the screen together with Lisa and Rob again, so we can put them back up, and we'll head on over to the Q&A portion. So over to you, Lisa and Rob.
Would you like to start this time?
Thanks, Rob. Ahira-san, I spend a lot of time on brain health, and in particular on prognostics. There is quite a number of competitors for you in the Japanese market already. One that I met just before the pandemic was a company called PST. How are you taking account of the local competition and the other digital biomarkers that are entering this market that have higher degrees of specificity and sensitivity, such as ViewMind, which is actually one of my investments?
Oh, that's a great point, and we are aware of such competitors in Japan. Though I think the strength of our technology is that we actually have the very close relationship with them in Keio University, the medical school. I am actually professor at the medical school, and we have very accurate clinical labeling with the elderly, with a very precise cognitive ability. Cognitive decline. So that may be one of the strengths, and also the ability. I mean, our technology, as I said in the presentation, during the presentation, our technology is capable of just analyzing from the voice, acoustic features without asking them in a specific question or the structured manner. We can just capture their cognitive ability, just listening to their voice. So, and also I think the strength is that we are in very close communication with the Mitsubishi UFJ Trust Bank. So they are actually accumulating the voice of the elderly during the financial transaction scene. And they're actually labeling in a very similar way that we do in clinical practice.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you. Can I ask one more question, specifically in relation to the local competition? I understand that the reason why financial institutions have adopted your competitors is because not only can their technology identify cognitive decline, but can also tell whether or not that person is lying. Does your technology have the same features?
Not really. Well, I'm not sure what's the best way, gold standard to label the lie. So I'm not sure we can do it. Any comment from you, CTO? Not really.
If we have the label, yeah.
Of course, we have the label of lying people. I mean, we may be able to do it, but yeah. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Over to you, Rob.
Thank you. My question is a little different. What percentage of transactions are verbal into the future? I mean, so for example, in the United States, a vast majority of the financial institutions actually don't really have a phone number. They really try to force you to web or other interfaces, phones specifically. So tell me a little bit about the volume of transactions that are expected through the verbal.
Yeah, thank you for your question. Actually, I don't have any idea about it. Well, I mean, I assume that, you know, just make sure that the person is that person is a very, very important step when they make a contract for banks. And I have been told from banks or the holding companies or security companies that they are, so the step in order for them to make sure that this person is this person, especially when they are concerned about their cognitive ability. I don't think that the automatic or remote control can be done when making any contract with them. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, thank you for the answer. Obviously, the bank you're working with obviously probably has a fairly good feel for that volume, where they expect it to go. Here in the US, a large amount of the fraud actually goes through a lot of these false text messages and through these things that carry embedded links and other things like that. And the cognitive simply enables it because they're unable to detect the deceit very well. It isn't so much that their mental decline simply enables that methodology to be more effective, but there isn't as much verbal perhaps in the United States than in Japan. So I'm trying to understand that mix. I'd like to do one quick follow-on question and see if I've understood your statement. You mentioned high accuracy and you listed it at 92%. That's just what I caught on the slide. Does that mean 8% of the time you detect that they're false positive, basically?
False positive and false negative as well. Yeah, including both.
Okay, so it's both the false positive and false negative. Obviously, the false negative, depending upon your interpretation of that, is obviously more costly. It's getting past the system. Can you tell me which percentage is false negative versus false positive?
Yeah, so there's a CTO in my company, and he can answer to your questions.
Yeah. Sure, no problem.
Sure. So the false negative is about 86%.
Okay, false negative is 85%, which means 15% of your time, 15% of the time you think they're declined, but they're not, and 85% of the time they're declined, but you miss it. Of the 8%, I assume you're breaking down the 8%. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So that means if I'm doing my math approximately correct, about 6% of the time, it's sort of a miss. That is to say, they are impaired and in fact just not being detected. Did I catch that math right?
Yeah, about.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Thank you. That's my question.
Thank you, Rob. And thank you, Taishiro and your CTO. That is true teamwork, guys. Yeah, bringing the right people to answer the questions at the right time. I love that. All right. I have a question from Jose, actually, if you can not go to the slide yet. Yeah, so Jose is actually asking, Taishiro, do you have a website, or would you like to connect with Jose? You can actually type in the chat to them. Yeah, so they're looking for a website.
So. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so on to our next speaker then. Next slide, please. So, as I've mentioned earlier, this is Yoichi Matsuyama. He is the CEO at Economopolis, and he's an associate research professor at Waseda University as well. So they are a platform for socially intelligent conversational AI services, right? And this flagship service actually utilizes this platform where LangX is a metaverse for humans and AI agents to learn languages together. So I will now hand it over to you, Matsuyama-san.
Thank you. Can you hear my voice, actually?
Yes.
I think so. Okay, hello. My name is Yoichi, the CEO of Keynote. So let me see. Okay. We help people to learn to speak English using interactive conversational AI technology. There are three major problems of English learning. First, lessons with human teachers are expensive. Our student attending our language school pays 16,000 yen per month. About 80% of students feel like it is time-consuming to schedule classes, and 91% of beginners feel hesitant about interpersonal conversations. about 10 million Japanese people regularly study English. The market in Japan is worth at least 200 billion yen. The global market is worth 5,000 billion yen. Here's our Intella within the LangX. She conducts a 10-minute interview with the user. By looking at the user's responses and the facial expressions, she can estimate the user's current level of understanding of English and can adaptively generate personalized questions. And she can assess the English speaking proficiency and suggest what to learn next. This year, we also launching different personas of Intella that will allow her to appear in a variety of situations. This way, the learners will be able to demonstrate their language ability in real-world simulations. Our direct competitors are existing language learning apps. However, almost all of them are speech recognition based and monologue type services. But as you can imagine, this is not a conversation yet, as a real-time conversation requires the speakers to spontaneously talk, orchestrating a whole range of interactional skills, such as timing, referring to previous context, and adapting the course of dialogue, and so on. With Intella, our vision is not to stop at empowering people to speak English with just a good pronunciation, but to create a world where people can effectively communicate with others in English as a second language. We sell through a subscription model to major learning platforms, language schools, universities, and governments. I, the CEO and associate professor of Waseda University with more than 17 years of research experience in conversational AI, Keita, or Chief Strategic Officer who oversees our go-to-market strategy, and Takao, or CEO for business operations. So please meet Intella in person to experience how natural it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Yoichi. I would love to do that. Please invite me, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Let's bring Rob and Lisa back up on, and we'll take some questions and feedback. Over to you guys.
Sure. Maybe I'll start this one. Okay, so let me see if I could ask a question. You sort of referenced your sales a little bit. Can you tell me a little bit about it? I'm actually more concerned with retention. Are they renewing? And that sort of the indication of how, shall we say, useful and effective it is for them.
Yeah, okay, so retain, right? So like a churn rate or something like that, yes. Right, so yes, we initially started from this model, a B2C model, but it's actually, we switched to B2B model because it's more stable. So it turned out it's more effective because we already got a lot of offers from language schools, especially like coaching, English personal coaching companies are very eager to get a very precise and very whole range of speaking ability assessment. So we have already a kind of RAF contract with them. So I think, so B2B model, it should be good. So I think a little bit like more or less worried about retaining with the direct user. I think
maybe let me rephrase my question slightly differently. Okay. Of the contracts you've signed B2B, not with the consumers, how long are the contracts, and have anybody renewed or dropped the contract?
Yes, so actually we haven't started the company officially yet. So we haven't launched a beta version yet. It's a very early stage, but actually still, though, we're still kind of stealth mode, but still we have, let's say 10 schools already signed up. So this is the current.
By signed up, have they started to use the product? You're just saying they're going to start or try it in the future? Is that the?
Yes, the tryout for the
so
beta
they're signing up for trying out a version, but they're not paying you any money. They haven't agreed to use the product in the long term. They're simply saying we'll get on your wait list.
Not yet, but one thing is that it's actually the younger age is more and more demanding. It's like a high school or junior high school, elementary school students actually very demanding. So these schools actually are willing to pay us even for development. So we almost contracted with them for the development for the next year.
Okay, I'll pause. Go ahead.
Yoichi-san, what do you see as the core defensible IP in your company?
Right, so we have some patented technology already, especially for we showed you interview task. So we have adaptive strategy for the interview to adaptively collect appropriate data from the user. So that kind of adaptive strategy is patented. We also have several dialogue system strategy IPs already. So we strategically having such things. So we are starting from just a simple interview, but this is just starting, just the beginning. So Intel is going to be more interactive system like discussions or joint decision-making kind of things. So these also should be patented soon.
I'm a professor at the university in Singapore Management University, and we are very focused on blended learning. How might I, as a professor, integrate your tool into my classroom? What do you automate for me, and what do you allow to continue to be in real time?
Yes, so I hope I get that point correctly, but actually our system is intended to make it very easy to blend with the existing systems like language management system of VR, AR, that kind of system. So now currently the Intel is running on kind of video conferencing like Zoom. Suppose the Intel is actually another side of the Zoom. So it's easy to adapt to the such existing platforms. This is our strategy as well. So it should be fairly easy, except the content itself. We need to work with the content directly with the teachers or some companies as well. But actually, in terms of platform, I believe this is very easy to blend.
Thank you.
Maybe I'll follow up a little bit.
Yeah,
given it's a B2B strategy and it integrates with content, do you foresee that as being a substantially complicated exercise with each and every customer? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, right. So we have, this is based on the very common theory of English learning, which is called CFR. This is commonly accepted by the world. So almost everything, all curriculum is actually based on the CFR right now. So we also strategically take that theory to understand and assess the CFR scores. Also, there are a lot of can-dos, a lot of set of tasks defining in the CFR scheme. So the Intel will be able to do some tasks like discussions, the purchasing things in the CFR.
So it sounds like it's sort of coexistence as opposed to integration, right? You run your own independent thing. You're assuming that it's going to be consistent with the rest of the teaching and content. Is that correct?
Yes.
And it would be my expectation, and I won't speak for others, but that they'll probably won't pick it unless they're using that methodology, or else it might become problematic. Okay. Then of course that generates my next question. What percentage of these English language use that methodology?
You mean, the percentage of, sorry, percentage of what?
Of these, of your target market, what percentage of them use this method that you work with?
Right, so our minimum estimate of our market in Japanese market only is expected to be 50 million US dollars in next couple of years. 4 to 5 years. So, but that's a minimum. So, and then actually, so we're going to create the Japanese version of Intel soon. So there are a lot of market there as well. So it's fairly easy to expand into other languages too, just like Duolingo.
Okay. I think maybe I'll pause, please.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. All right, thank you so much. So thanks, Yoichi. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Lisa.
Okay.
I would like to move on actually to the second half of our program, right? If we can go to the next slide. So next up, right, our Japanese judging panel, Suzuki-san and Sakamoto-san, will be giving feedback to our global founders. And first up, our first female presenter today, this is Christina Tai from Lydia AI, and they are here to ensure the next billion people. So Christina, over to you.
Morning and good evening, everybody. I'm actually currently in Toronto. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you for the opportunity to share our journey with you here today. My name is Christina, and I'm the co-founder and CEO at Lydia AI, where we are on a mission to ensure the next billion people. Let me take a few moments to introduce you to our team. We started from the University of Toronto with just 3 people and have since grown to a team of 45 people with 2 offices in Toronto and Taiwan serving our Asian clients. We're excited to work with such an interdisciplinary group of people, from bioinformaticians to actuaries to machine learning scientists. In Japan specifically, we've actually worked with MetLife to pilot the use of Lydia AI for expanding insurabilities and doing an early cancer risk prediction to build targeted intervention programs. I'm really looking forward to sharing our work with you today. Emerging country customers are faced with generic insurance policies that are difficult to buy. The opportunity is massive, with life and health protection gaps sitting at $1.8 trillion and low insurance penetration rate across Asia. Two of the biggest friction points in insurance purchase experience is a lack of insurance literacy and a bothersome process. People don't know what insurance to buy, they don't know what fits what they need, and they can't necessarily find it. Even if they do find it, going through the process of purchasing it is extremely bothersome. This is where we believe Health AI can transform the customer experience and reimagine underwriting. Where Lydia AI comes in is we use alternative data to generate health scores based on Health AI. We're dedicated to advancing Health AI, and our machine learning work have been published widely. We use new sources of data such as medical data, wellness data, claims data, and checkup data to make predictions on key health indicators. We then combine the predictions into a health score that captures the real health risks of a person. The health score is then integrated into a mobile application that enables omni-channel distribution with a fluidless underwriting experience. The way it works is that customers consent data to calculate the health score and receive a Health AI reports that highlights their key health risk and key protection gaps. We believe that understanding a customer's protection gaps really sets a personalized context for agents to begin speaking to their customers about their insurance needs. Now, customers then share a QR code that sends a very limited version, no raw health data, to their agents to guide in the protection planning process. Agents will then see a recommended list of products that can be purchased immediately without a medical exam based on a risk profile. Now, our solution is live in Taiwan at the biggest retail bank, servicing 15 million customers, and our work has won our insurer client, Taiwan Life, Solid Model Insurer of the Year. The bank assurance channel saw 80% of policies achieve near real-time medical underwriting. We've also seen an increase in sales conversions and loss ratio improvements of 15 to 30%. We're really proud of the work we've done with Taiwan Life. We're looking forward to proving out our model in Taiwan and looking forward to expanding health scores across Asia, and really looking forward to sharing our journey with everyone else here today. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, Christina. All right, so I would love to now bring on screen our two Japanese investors, right? So we have with us Iriko Suzuki, and of course, you know, as well as Sakamoto-san, if we can bring him up on screen as well. And I'll leave it over to you guys to ask some questions or give some feedback.
Thank you. Nori-san, would you like to start, or?
Yeah, maybe you first.
Okay, great. In the interest of time, thank you, Christina, for a great presentation. And I could really see your passion for this product. Would you mind explaining a little bit more about the data you collect? You mentioned, you know, the regular health related data and the wellness data. And if you want to expand in other countries, such as Japan, how would you acquire this data sets?
So that's a really great question. So the way that we look at it is, depending on which regions we actually go into, we look at different data availability. So in Taiwan specifically, the government is actually investing heavily into what we call an open health ecosystem. So the government actually has created an API that allows customers to consent their private medical records to trusted third parties. We actually see this pattern get replicated across Southeast Asia as well. So in countries where that infrastructure is being invested in, that's the data that we use. In countries such as Japan, we'll look at actually looking at collecting, working with medical checkup centers, actually looking at working with them. Kencom is another health company in Japan that actually already aggregates this to actually feed it in. Another thing is obviously the most basic part is wellness data, right? We see the rise in wellness activity trackers, Apple Health, Android Health, all of that. So that will be our basics when there is no other sources of data actually coming in. So we're looking at whatever regions we're in, looking at what sources of data are available and actually using that create the composite health score, then working with the underwriters and actuaries to figure out, okay, so given the data availability in this region, what would be the thresholding and what would be the risk tolerance that works with your given portfolio.
Understood. Thank you. If I could just ask maybe one or two follow-up questions. So your model is, yeah, thank you. So your model is B2B, and would you say it's a SaaS model or an API type usage-driven model?
Our model is B2B2C, so it is actually a SaaS software licensing base. So the way that it works is we actually sell to the insurance companies who then actually push it out to their distribution agents who then get it to their customers, right? So that's actually our model, and we actually charge the insurer. So at the end of the day, it's actually the insurer charging us first a licensing fee and also a volume-based transactional fee based on how many applications are submitted with the health AI score.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. Would you elaborate more about the traction, or what is your current stage of the business? Who are the customers?
So we work with major insurers, and right now our insurance product using a health score is actually launched in Taiwan. Right. So at the stage of our company, our product is already on the market. We're really proud of that because the process it takes to actually take a machine learning models, work with the underwriters and the actuaries, and actually get it approved for sale on the markets is actually a really exciting product. So right now we've launched our first series of insurance product. The series consists of 29 insurance products. So all of the insurance products sold at the banker channel actually now carries the health score. We're very close to actually signing on another insurers, and our top priority is actually counted by the number of insurance products using our health score.
I see. And what are the plan to go outside your home country, or are there any strategy or plan to start business in Japan or in other countries?
Absolutely. So like I mentioned earlier, we've actually already worked with MetLife previously inside Japan and the Japan market to look at how we could use these models to loosen underwriting criteria and figure out how we can do targeted early intervention programs. So definitely international expansion is a really key part of our strategy. And one of the key ways that we're going about doing that is to get the insurance product onto the market. We actually had to work with a reinsurance partner. Right. The reinsurance partner actually works across different regions. So we're currently working on a Pan-Asia agreement with them.
Interesting. Yeah, I have a several portfolio doing the insurtech, so very interesting.
Yeah. So working with the reinsurer is really helpful because it'll actually allow us to come equipped, and we can actually go to the insurance company and say, hey, our health score is backed by a reinsurer. So this is the market demand that's not being underserved right now. Here's the insurance product we believe will actually make sense. And here's the reinsurance product to go with it. Please work with us and let's get this baby launched.
I see.
Thank you. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Eriko. Thank you, Nori. This was a really, really amazing one. I think, Christina, there are two questions for you actually in the Q&A button. If you'd like to answer them through the chat, I think that'd be really helpful. And I would like to bring on our next speaker actually at this point. So let me welcome Daniel, right? Daniel Wong is the co-founder and CEO at Rosetta AI, where they help fashion e-commerce uncover consumers' shopping preferences and provide personalized shopping experiences to consumer, something we all love, right? So over to you, Daniel.
Yep. Okay. E-commerce typically has low rate by existing advertising solutions. Merchants are hard to understand each consumer's fabric to fit, and so sales from their recommendation section underperforms for fashion e-commerce. Rosetta AI uncover individual consumers' fashion preferences, including style, material, color, and brand, as profile of preferences and online behaviors to predict what fashion products each individual consumer is likely to purchase. We provide consumer preferences analysis, on-site personalized product recommendations, and off-site personalized messaging. Customers just need to upload their product data and copy-paste the simple code into their online store. Then it starts tracing individual consumer and analyzing product attributes to build personal preference profiles for everyone. Result AI then takes control of the recommendation box on the e-commerce platform. And when each visitor comes to the site, they will see different fashion product recommendations depending on their preferences. We can also send personalized recommendation to consumer by SMS, email, and chat. More importantly, we help you know the detail how the consumer love your products. Unlike other alternatives, we focus on what really makes people purchase, product attributes, and personal preference profiles, not put consumer into segment analysis. We run subscription model for small and medium-sized e-commerce and commission model for enterprise level. On average, we triple conversion rate and double order value that measured by A/B testing. And today, we have got more than 2,000 paying customers with 90% retention. The founding team member were from medium-sized e-commerce company with product design, marketing, and deep learning expertise. We are looking for the global market expansion. Welcome to email me for further cooperation. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Daniel. All right, let's bring on our two judges again. Eriko, Nori, please join us on stage. And over to you guys.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I actually had a family business related to the apparel and fashion industry, so I'm very interested in this area. But at the same time, the industry itself is very downturn. It's maybe not only Japan, but many big players are dominating and changing the structure itself. So I think there are so many competitors related to this area. So would you tell me your competitive advantage compared to those guys?
Yeah, in our technology, the secret sauce is we have a dedicated model for each fashion verticals, including apparel, cosmetic, and accessory. So because each area of the fashion verticals, they have different product attributes and purchase behavior to analyze. So that's why we build a model for each verticals. So for apparel, we can help our merchants understand why their consumer purchase their product. For example, if we purchase the same T-shirt, our system can tell the merchants, maybe I like the color and you like the material, yeah, or other styles. So the merchant can understand how they can prepare their inventory and predict the future sales. And in the meanwhile, our technology also directly provide a personalized recommendation to help them directly grow their revenue and order value. Yeah.
I see. Maybe if the analyzing fashion data itself is a competitive advantage of your company, maybe the EC is not the only monetization method. So I invested into the one company called Fashion Pocket, which went public end of the last year. And the company was analyzing the big data, big fashion data all over the world, millions of pictures. And they sold that data and analysis to the apparel company, to the B2B. So maybe that could be another business model if your competitive advantage or technology is superior to other guys. So thank you very much.
We'd like to learn more about them. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. If I could jump in and ask a question. Sakamoto-san was mentioning that the apparel industry is facing certain challenges. So I would love to better understand your customer profile. I'm wondering if you are targeting kind of large enterprise scale e-commerce platforms, or if it's SMB type e-commerce players that are using Shopify on the back end, etc. So who are your target and what is your sales strategy to them?
Yep. For the e-commerce, we provide plugins for the merchant who use e-commerce platform, such like Shopify and Shopline, WooCommerce, Magento, and so on. So they just need to configure their configuration of the recommendation and put the code into their store. And now our customer profile, we have the majority is the medium-sized e-commerce, from including the apparel, cosmetics, e-commerce, and we also have some key account which is the enterprise level, such like YSL and Kiosk, which are the brands of L'Oreal in Taiwan.
Understood. And what is your sales process to these SMBs or key accounts?
For the SMB, we use for SMB we use marketing and to do some inbound marketing and write some do the content marketing with the content who help them understand how to grow their business and how to analyze the consumers' shopping preferences. And for enterprise level, we use our BD strategy and collaborate with overseas BD agency.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Iriko. Thank you, Nori. Thank you, Daniel. All right. And thanks everyone for staying with us throughout, right? We have one more last speaker, and I'm sure it's going to be worth your time. So let me invite up on stage Sun Ting, also known as TT. He is the CEO at Team T5, and they're an intelligence-driven threat solution platform. So over to you, TT.
Okay. Hi. My name is Sun Ting Chai. I'm founder at Team T5. You may call me TT. We are helping large enterprises and public sectors to defend against the most advanced cyber threats by offering threat intelligence and threat hunting tools. We believe you have already seen lots of incidents from the news in recent years. There are more than $100 million ransomware transactions per month. Breaches keep happening and damages keep increasing. When victims are facing advanced attackers, traditional protections are not enough. One of the key problems is that attackers know victims very well, but victims have no idea about the attacker. Without understanding of the enemies, attackers will always be ahead of the victim. So the victims need threat intelligence to know their enemies. And the other key problem is existing security solutions do not effectively defend against attacks. Attackers know how to bypass antivirus and firewalls. So the victims need new defense technology to have better protections. With Team T5 intelligence, specific countermeasure can be adopted for different attacker groups because we know techniques these attackers use frequently. Yeah. And our clients can now know the stories behind the attacks, such as the purpose of the attack, where the attackers are from, and even who is behind these activities. Yeah. So Team T5 intelligence is recognized by many global customers, including one of top 5 banks in the world. We have an endpoint tool that is designed to defend against most advanced attackers. With our unique machine learning threat modeling, our tool helps enterprises and our public sector clients find threats that their existing security solutions cannot identify. Also, we developed several techniques to proactively block ransomware. Our business started in 2017. We have not taken any investment and have been profitable since the first year. Our growth is currently at 60% YOY, and we have more than 100 clients now, including large enterprises such as Hitachi and Itochu. Taiwan and Japan are our major market. I have more than 18 years experience in the security industry and also in the hacker community. Besides Team T5, I also co-founded HICON. HICON is a nonprofit and the largest security community in the region. Our team all have a background in the security industry. We are expert in the threat intelligence research and have published more than 30 papers at many global security conferences. Yep, join me to fight cybercrime. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, TT. And please let us bring on our 2 judges, Iriko, Nori, so we can take some questions.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Very interesting, and I'm very curious that the selling the security product is, of course, is not easy, especially to the enterprise company. But you have already found the very big clients, especially in Japan. So how did you find them, or how did you persuade them to install your products?
I think the major difference from other security providers is our intelligence, because why we choose Japan as our first market, because we understand the threats, cyber threats in this region. So compared with many Western security vendors, I think we have better understanding of the attackers especially in Asia Pacific region. So yeah, so you know, Taiwan and Japan are facing similar cyber attackers, similar cyber enemies. Yeah. So the experience, the knowledge, we know that we could directly help our partner clients in Japan. So after we introduce our intelligence and the like cyber attackers we described, it's just their enemies. So that's why yeah, they can accept our deliveries and our products.
Do you have a Japanese sales force, or how do you sell them the products?
Not yet. Currently, we rely on our partners. We have 2 or 3 resellers, distributors in Japan, and we are actually registering because of COVID. So the schedule is a little bit delayed, but we are registering the Japanese subsidiaries now, and we hope in like following years we could have more progress in Japan.
Very interesting. And sorry, one more question. So I have actually one portfolio. I had actually one portfolio related to security, but it was very difficult because it took time to sell it, because the security product is usually very interrelated to other security products. So usually, especially for the big company, the first tier SIer is managing everything. And if we would like to sell the new technology or new product inside one company, we need to proceed the second tier and first tier software companies. So how do you sell your product independently, or how do you accelerate your sales so far?
I think yeah, our target market is B2B. So in the B2B, especially in the security, your partner is really important. Yeah. So try to enable the partner to be able to motivate them to sell your product. And because in B2B market, you need to know the relationship between you or partner and customer is very important. Yeah. We focus and also try invest lots of our time to collaborate with our partners. And also in the security industry, it is very competitive market. So especially there are already many very large vendors from like US. And so you need to try to make your product different from others. So we don't want to go into the direct compete with like large competitor like CrowdStrike, Microsoft, but need to try to make our product with some difference and yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
If I could ask a question, and apologies to everyone here, I must leave to another meeting soon, but the quality of all the presentations and the teams have been so strong, and this TT5 team as well. And I would like to ask, the quality of your engineers or your hunters is probably one of the most important things of your differentiation, but I'm curious, how are you attracting that type of talent, and how are you retaining them? How are you growing them? Do you have any things to share?
This is a good question, and I'm still trying hard. I think because I spent lots of time in the past decade, and in the security community. So I know many good researchers, I know many good hackers, and so we try to have many interesting research in Team T5, and also we try to have our product is different from others. Keep the researchers and the developers, they can do something they are interested.
Understood. Thank you. And does your security products apply to all types of software or all types of technologies that companies might have, including blockchain or?
Our target user is currently large enterprises and government agencies, public sectors. For collaborating with other technology providers, I think it is possible. But currently our target user is enterprises.
Understood. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Eriko. Thank you for taking time to come today. Thank you, Nori, as well. And thank you, TT. And okay, let's thank you, everyone. Really well done to all the 6 startups. And of course, thank you to our partner, GTIE, and to the judges for being here with us today. And now it's your turn, right, guys? We are going to send up a poll, right? And I want to ask you guys a few questions. The first one is, would you actually like to attend more such pitching events? Right? And please let us know yes or no. Are you also interested in investing in startups? And if you are, would you like us to reach out to you to have a chat and see how we can introduce startups to you or have a conversation? So there is a poll on screen right now. Just let us know yes or no. And before I let everyone go, I'd like to take a moment to thank our partners, GTIE, for driving this with us. Thank you, Rob, Lisa, Eriko, Nori, for taking the morning to do this as well. So this is not the end of the journey, right, for the startups and for this partnership. So if you are an investor looking to support a startup, this is your chance. Reach out to us and we're happy to chat. So feel free to reach out to the presenting startups today on LinkedIn as well. You can find their profiles on our website. If you scan the QR code, that will bring you there. So that's all from me today. Have a really wonderful weekend. Thank you for spending a day with us, and we look forward to seeing you at all our future events. Thank you, guys.